I was standing in line at the grocery store, mindlessly scrolling through my phone, when a text from an unknown number made my blood run cold. Thought you should know what your wife does on Thursday nights. Check the attachment. The image loaded slowly, pixel by agonizing pixel. My wife, Emma, pressed against some guy in a suit, outside what looked like a hotel entrance. Her hand on his chest, his hand on her lower back. That smile, the one I thought was reserved for me, plastered across her face as she looked up at him. My hands started shaking so badly I nearly dropped my phone. The cashier asked if I was okay. I wasn't. Nothing was okay. Sir, your total is $43.75. I fumbled with my wallet, my mind racing. Thursday nights. Emma had been taking a pottery class on Thursday nights for the past 4 months. She'd come home with clay under her fingernails, talking about glazes and kiln temperatures. I'd been so proud of her for picking up a new hobby. I drove home on autopilot, that image seared into my brain. We'd been married for 8 years. 8 years of what I thought was a solid partnership. We had 2 kids, Tyler, 6, and Madison, 4. A house in the suburbs of Charlotte, North Carolina. 2 cars. A golden retriever named Biscuit. The whole American dream package. Emma's car was already in the driveway when I pulled up. It was only 3 in the afternoon. She usually worked until 5 at the dental office where she was a hygienist. My stomach twisted. Was he here? In our house? I sat in my car for a full minute, trying to compose myself, trying to think rationally. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe there was an explanation. Who was I kidding? I walked in through the front door. Emma was in the kitchen, still in her scrubs, making what looked like lemonade. She turned and smiled when she saw me. "Hey, honey, you're home early. I wasn't feeling great, so I left work at lunch." She walked over to kiss me. I stepped back. Her smile faltered. "What's wrong?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the picture. Watched her face go from confusion to recognition to pure panic in the span of 3 seconds. "Jake, that's not... Don't." My voice came out steadier than I expected. "Don't insult me by lying right now." She set down the pitcher of lemonade with trembling hands. "How did you get that?" "Someone sent it to me. Anonymous number. Who is he?" Emma's eyes filled with tears. Real tears, I noted bitterly. She'd always been good at crying on command. "His name is Brian. He's a pharmaceutical rep who comes by the office." "Jake, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything." "How long?" "What?" "How long?" She looked down at her hands. 4 months. 4 months. The pottery class. Every Thursday night for 4 months, she'd been lying to my face, kissing our kids goodnight, and going to meet this Brian guy. I felt like I might throw up. "Where do you meet him?" "Jake, please." "Where?" "The Marriott on Tryon Street." The Marriott. A hotel 15 minutes from our house. While I was home giving the kids baths and reading them bedtime stories, she was... "I want you to leave," I said. "What?" "Jake, no. We can work through this. I'll end it right now. I'll call him right now and... Get out of my house." "This is my house too. And what about Tyler and Madison? You can't just... Watch me." I pulled out my phone again. "You have 2 choices. You pack a bag and leave voluntarily, or I call my brother and he helps me change the locks while you're at your mother's. Either way, you're not sleeping here tonight." My brother Ryan was a locksmith. He'd do it, no questions asked. Emma's face crumpled. "Jake, please, I love you. I made a terrible mistake, but we have a family. 8 years of marriage. You can't throw that away because of one what? One affair? One lie? Try 4 months of lies, Emma. 120 days, give or take. How many Thursday nights was that? 16? 17? She was full-on sobbing now. Part of me, the part that had loved this woman since college, that had held her hand in the delivery room twice, that had built a life with her, wanted to comfort her. But a bigger part, a part I didn't even know existed until an hour ago, felt nothing but cold rage. "I'm going to pick up the kids from daycare," I said, checking my watch. "When I get back in 45 minutes, you need to be gone. Pack whatever you need for a few days. We'll figure out the rest later." "Where am I supposed to go?" "That's not my problem. Call Brian. I'm sure he has room at the Marriott." It was a low blow, but I didn't care. I grabbed my keys and walked out, leaving her crying in our kitchen. The drive to Little Sprouts daycare took 12 minutes. I used every second to try to pull myself together. Tyler and Madison couldn't see me like this. They were innocent in all of this. Whatever happened between Emma and me, I wouldn't let it hurt them more than necessary. "Daddy!" Madison ran into my arms when I walked into her classroom. She smelled like apple juice and Play-Doh. I squeezed her tight, fighting back tears. Tyler was more reserved as usual. 6 going on 16, that kid. "You're early," he observed. "Thought we'd have a special afternoon," I said, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. "How about we get ice cream?" Madison cheered. Tyler looked suspicious but didn't argue. As we walked to the car, Tyler's small hand in mine, Madison chattering about her day, I made myself a promise. Whatever came next, my kids would be okay. I'd make sure of it. Even if it meant going to war with the woman I'd promised to love forever. The ice cream helped. Madison got chocolate all over her face, and Tyler actually smiled when I let him order a double scoop. For 20 minutes, I sat across from my kids in a bright red booth and pretended everything was fine. "Can we come back tomorrow?" Madison asked, swinging her legs. "We'll see, sweetheart." Tyler looked at me over his cone. "Where's Mom?" "She had to go somewhere." The lie tasted worse than any truth I'd ever told. "It's just us tonight." "Like a boys' night?" His eyes lit up. "And Madison?" "Exactly like that." We got home at 6:15. Emma's car was gone from the driveway. I'd half expected her to still be there, to have ignored my deadline, but the empty space where her Honda usually sat felt like a punch to the gut. She'd actually left. Inside, the house looked the same. No obvious gaps on the walls, no stripped shelves. I set the kids up with a movie while I walked through the rooms, cataloging what was missing. Clothes from her side of the closet, toiletries from the bathroom, the framed photo of her parents from her nightstand. She'd taken exactly what I'd told her to take. Nothing more. I found the note on the kitchen counter, tucked under the lemonade pitcher I'd never gotten around to putting away that morning. Her handwriting, the same loops and curves I'd seen on birthday cards and grocery lists for 8 years. "Jake. I'm staying at the Hampton Inn off I-77, room 308. Please call me when you're ready to talk. I love you. I love our family. I made a terrible mistake, but we can fix this. Please. I'll come get some more things tomorrow if that's okay. I want to see the kids. E. I crumpled it and threw it in the trash. Then I pulled it back out, smoothed it flat, and took a photo with my phone. My brother Ryan worked in family law. Not as an attorney, he was a paralegal, but he'd know what I needed to do, who I needed to call. The kids ate chicken nuggets for dinner. I managed half a sandwich. Tyler asked twice more about Emma, and I stuck to the same vague answer. Madison didn't seem to notice anything was wrong, too busy telling me about the castle she'd built at daycare. Bath time, stories, tucking them in. The routine held me together, gave me something to do besides think about the photo on my phone, the empty side of the closet, the 4 months of Thursdays. Tyler's room first. I sat on the edge of his bed while he clutched his stuffed elephant. "Dad?" "Yeah, buddy? Is Mom coming back?" My throat closed. "I don't know yet. But you know what? No matter what happens, you and Madison and me, we're going to be okay, I promise." He studied my face with those serious 6-year-old eyes. Okay. I kissed his forehead and turned off the light. Madison was already asleep by the time I checked on her, curled up with her blanket twisted around her legs. I fixed it gently, tucked her in properly, and stood there in the darkness listening to her breathe. Downstairs, I poured myself a bourbon. Then I poured it down the sink. I needed to think clearly. I called Ryan at 8:30. Hey, what's up? Background noise suggested he was at a bar or restaurant. Emma's having an affair. Silence. Then, hold on. Rustling, footsteps, the noise fading. Say that again. Emma's been sleeping with someone for 4 months. I found out today. She's gone. Gone where? Hotel. I kicked her out. More silence. Ryan was good at his job because he knew when to shut up and listen. I gave him the abbreviated version, the text, the photo, the confrontation, the Thursday nights at the Marriott. You documented everything? He asked when I finished. I took screenshots, photos. I have the note she left. Good. Don't delete anything. Don't talk to her without recording it. Actually, don't talk to her at all yet. You need an attorney. I know. I'll text you some names. People I've worked with, good people. Call them first thing Monday. He paused. How are you doing? I'm not. Yeah, stupid question. Another pause. The kids? They don't know, not really. Tyler suspects something. Keep it that way as long as you can. And Jake? I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry. We talked for another 10 minutes. Logistics, next steps, things I needed to do. When we hung up, I felt fractionally more grounded. There was a path forward. It looked like hell, but at least it was a path. My phone buzzed at 9:15. Emma. Please talk to me. I can't sleep. I can't stop thinking about what I've done to us. I stared at the message. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard. You should have thought about that before. I deleted it without sending. Ryan said not to engage. He was right. Another message came through 10 minutes later. Can I see the kids tomorrow, please? I need to see them. This one I answered. No. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, you can't keep them from me. I'm their mother. Watch me. I turned off my phone. The house felt too quiet. I walked through it again, turning on lights, checking locks. Everything looked normal. The kids' drawings on the refrigerator, the coffee maker I'd used that morning, 1,000 years ago, the couch where Emma and I had watched TV 3 nights ago, her feet in my lap. How long had she been lying? When I'd kissed her goodbye Thursday morning, had she already been planning what to wear for Brian? When she'd come home and asked about my day, had she been thinking about him? 4 months. 16 Thursdays, give or take. 16 times she'd looked me in the eye and lied. I sat down at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. Started a new document. Wrote down everything I could remember from today. Times, conversations, exact words where I could recall them. Ryan would want this. The attorney would want this. At 10:30, someone knocked on the door. I knew it was Emma before I looked through the peephole. She stood on the porch in jeans and a sweatshirt, her face blotchy from crying. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. Jake, please. The kids are asleep. I know. I need to talk to you. 5 minutes. No. Please. Her voice cracked. I can't do this. I can't be away from you, from them. This is killing me. You should have thought about that. I know. I know I should have. I'm so sorry. She broke down, covering her face with her hands. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. It didn't mean anything, Jake. It was just what? Just 4 months? Just 16 times you chose him over your family? She looked up, tears streaming. It wasn't like that? Then what was it like, Emma? Explain it to me. She opened her mouth, closed it. I don't know. That's what I thought. Go back to your hotel. Jake, go. Now. Before I say something I can't take back. She stood there for another moment, shoulders shaking. Then she turned and walked to her car. I watched her drive away before I closed and locked the door. My hands were trembling. I leaned against the wall, breathing hard, fighting the urge to put my fist through something. Upstairs, I checked on the kids again. Still sleeping, still innocent, still mine to protect. I went to bed at midnight but didn't sleep. Just lay there in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle around me. The bed felt too big. The room felt too empty. My phone was still off. I left it that way. At some point, I must have dozed off because I woke to Madison's voice calling for me. Sunlight streamed through the curtains. 6:47, according to the clock. Coming, baby. Saturday morning. The first morning of whatever came next. I got up and went to my daughter. The next morning, I woke to the sound of Madison singing in her bedroom. Some cartoon theme song she'd memorized. Tyler was already up, sitting at the kitchen table with a bowl of cereal, reading the back of the box like it contained classified information. Morning, bud, I said. Morning. He didn't look up. I made coffee, scrambled eggs for Madison, went through the motions of breakfast and getting them ready for daycare. Emma usually handled mornings while I left early for work, but I'd already called in and taken the rest of the week off. My boss hadn't asked questions, just told me to take the time I needed. The kids didn't ask where their mother was. Not yet. Madison was 4. She probably figured Emma was at work. Tyler was sharper, more observant, but he kept whatever questions he had to himself. I dropped them at Little Sprouts at 8:30, came home to an empty house that felt too big and too quiet. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. Please, I need to see them, just for a few minutes. I deleted it. Another text came through 30 seconds later. Different number. Jake, it's Brian. We need to talk. I stared at that one longer. The nerve of this guy. The sheer audacity to contact me directly, like we were going to have some kind of man-to-man conversation about the situation. Like there was anything he could possibly say that would matter. I blocked the number. Ryan called at 9. You talked to a lawyer yet? He asked. Not yet. Jake, today, I'm serious. I know. I sent you 3 names last night. All good. All experienced with this kind of thing. I'd seen the email, hadn't opened it. I'll call. This morning, Ryan said. Don't wait on this. Emma's going to lawyer up if she hasn't already, and you need to be ahead of it. He was right. I knew he was right. After we hung up, I opened the email. 3 names, phone numbers, brief descriptions. Ryan had done the research for me. The first one, David Patterson, had a note. Aggressive, expensive, gets results. I called the number. The receptionist answered on the second ring. Professional, polite. I explained I needed a consultation. She asked if this was regarding divorce proceedings. Yes, I said. The word felt strange in my mouth. She scheduled me for 2 o'clock that afternoon. I spent the rest of the morning doing what Ryan had told me to do, documenting. I went through our bank accounts, credit card statements, phone records, made copies of everything. Found the Thursdays in our credit card history, charges at restaurants I'd never been to, a florist, the Marriott. All on Emma's card, the one linked to our joint account. 4 months of Thursdays. Some weeks she'd charge dinner before the hotel. Like they were dating. Like this was a relationship, not just sex in a rented room. I found myself calculating the money. Rough math, but it came out to a few $1,000s. Our money. Money that should have gone to the kids' college funds, or the mortgage, or literally anything else. My hands were shaking again. I set down the papers and walked away from the desk. The house was too quiet. I went outside, mowed the lawn even though it didn't need it. The physical work helped. The noise helped. By the time I finished, it was 11:30. I showered, changed into clean clothes, tried to eat lunch but couldn't manage more than half a sandwich. At 1:15, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Jake, it's Chris Donovan. It took me a second to place the name. Then I remembered. Chris was the friend who'd asked me to be his alibi. The one who'd supposedly been planning a surprise for his wife. Hey, I said. Man, I just heard. I'm so sorry. I didn't say anything. I had no idea, Chris continued. I swear to God, I had no idea what she was doing. When she asked me to cover for her, she told me she was planning something for your anniversary, that she needed you to think we were all hanging out together so you wouldn't suspect anything. The words hit me like cold water. What? She called me about 3 months ago, said she wanted to surprise you with a trip or something, and could I help by being an alibi if you asked. She said if you ever questioned where she was on Thursday nights, I should say we'd all been out together. The four of us. Me and Jenna, you and Emma. I sat down on the edge of the couch. You're telling me Emma used you as cover? Yeah, and I'm an idiot for believing her. Jenna's furious with me. Says I should have known better, should have checked with you first. She's right. Did you ever actually tell me you were with Emma? No, you never asked. But I would have if you had. That's what makes me feel like such an ass. I would have lied straight to your face and had no idea I was helping her cheat on you. I pressed my palm against my forehead. Chris, I need you to do something for me. Anything. Write down everything. When she called you, what she said, dates if you remember them. Email it to me. Yeah, absolutely. I'll do it today. Thanks. Jake, I really am sorry. If I'd known... I know, it's not your fault. We hung up. I sat there staring at nothing. She'd planned this. Emma had set up alibis, created cover stories, built an entire structure of lies. This wasn't some spontaneous mistake or moment of weakness. This was calculated, deliberate. The worst part was the alibi she'd chosen. Chris and I had been friends since college. We didn't see each other often, maybe once every couple months, but we'd been in each other's weddings. Our wives got along. It was the kind of friendship that felt solid even when we went weeks without talking. And Emma had weaponized that. Had turned it into a tool for her affair. I thought about all the times she'd mentioned Chris and Jenna casually. We should get together with them soon. Chris texted, said we need to do dinner. Normal couple stuff. Except now I wondered if every mention had been strategic. Building the foundation so that if I ever questioned a Thursday night, the story would feel natural. My phone buzzed. Email from Chris. Subject line: what Emma told me. I opened it. He'd written out everything he remembered. 3 phone calls from Emma over the past few months. The first one in late January, asking him to be ready to confirm they'd all hung out together if I ever asked. She'd told him she was planning a surprise trip for our anniversary in June. Said she needed to keep her planning night secret. The second call had been in February. Emma checking in, making sure he remembered the cover story. Thanking him for being such a good friend. The third was 2 weeks ago. Emma saying the surprise was almost ready, she just needed a few more weeks. Chris had included a final paragraph. I feel sick about this. Jenna says I was too trusting, and she's right. I should have questioned why Emma needed this kind of secrecy. I should have talked to you. I'm sorry I didn't. If you need me to tell this to a lawyer or write a statement or anything, just say the word. I forwarded the email to Ryan with a short message. Add this to the file. He responded immediately. Holy shit. This is good. Shows premeditation. Your lawyer's going to want this. At 1:45, I got in the car and drove to David Patterson's office. The building was downtown, all glass and steel. His office was on the 8th floor. The waiting room had leather chairs and abstract art on the walls. A coffee station with actual ceramic mugs, not paper cups. The receptionist, different voice from the phone, younger, smiled at me. "Mr. Mitchell?" "Yes." "Mr. Patterson will be right with you. Can I get you anything? Coffee? Water?" "I'm fine, thank you." I sat. Picked up a magazine without reading it. Put it back down. 5 minutes later, a door opened and a man stepped out. Mid-50s, gray hair, expensive suit. He extended his hand. "Jake? David Patterson, come on back." His office was bigger than my living room. Windows overlooking the city. A desk that looked like it cost more than my car. Bookshelves lined with legal volumes. He gestured to a chair across from his desk. I sat. "So," he said, settling into his own chair, "tell me what's going on." I told him. Started with a text message in the grocery store and worked forward. The photo. The confrontation. The 4 months. Brian. The pottery class lie. Emma leaving. Chris's phone call this morning. Patterson listened without interrupting. Took notes on a legal pad. When I finished, he sat back. "Okay," he said. "First thing, I'm sorry you're going through this. Second thing, you've done everything right so far. Documenting, keeping records, consulting with your brother. That's good." He flipped through his notes. North Carolina is an equitable distribution state, not community property. That means the court divides assets fairly, not necessarily 50-50. The affair itself won't directly impact property division, but it can affect other things. Alimony, for instance. I don't want to pay her alimony. Given the circumstances, you probably won't have to. Adultery is one of the few grounds that can bar alimony in this state. But we'll need proof. I have the photo, her admission, Chris's email. That's a start. We'll want more if we can get it. Hotel records, phone records, anything that establishes a pattern. He made another note. Custody, he continued. That's going to be your priority, correct? Yes. How old are the kids? 6 and 4. And your wife works? She's a dental hygienist, part-time, 3 days a week. You work full-time? Yes, but I can adjust my schedule. I've already taken this week off. Patterson nodded. Courts in North Carolina favor joint custody unless there's a compelling reason not to. The affair itself won't necessarily impact her parental rights, but we can argue for primary physical custody based on stability, your involvement in their daily care, her deception. She lied to them too, I said. Every Thursday for 4 months, she told them she was going to pottery class. That's relevant. Shows a pattern of dishonesty that affected the children's lives. He spent the next 20 minutes outlining the process. Filing, temporary orders, discovery, mediation, trial if it came to that. Timeline of 6 months to a year, maybe longer, depending on how contested things got. My retainer is $10,000, he said finally. That covers initial filing and the first phase of work. Depending on how your wife responds, costs could go up from there. $10,000. I thought about the charges on Emma's credit card, the hotel rooms, the dinners. That's fine, I said. Patterson slid a contract across the desk. Read through this. If you want to proceed, sign and date at the bottom. We can get started immediately. I read it. Standard legal language, terms of representation, fee structure. At the bottom, a line for my signature. I signed. The paralegal at Patterson's office called Friday afternoon while I was watching Madison color at the kitchen table. Tyler was in the living room, building something elaborate with Legos that required his complete concentration. Mr. Mitchell, this is Steph from David Patterson's office. I'm calling about the discovery request we filed this morning. I stepped into the hallway, lowering my voice. What about it? Emma's phone records came through faster than expected. Your brother expedited the subpoena through a contact at the carrier. Papers rustled on her end. We have 4 months of detailed call logs and text metadata, thousands of messages to Brian's number. The pattern is extensive. How extensive? Multiple texts daily, calls lasting 30-40 minutes, video calls. She paused. Mr. Patterson wants to meet Monday to review everything. Can you come in at 9? I'll be there. After I hung up, I found Tyler standing in the hallway entrance, watching me with those serious eyes that made him look older than 6. Was that about Mom? I'd been careful. No arguments in front of them, no explanations beyond Mom's staying somewhere else for a little while. But Tyler was smart. Too smart. Just grown-up stuff, I said. Is she coming back? Madison appeared behind him, purple crayon still in her hand. I want Mommy. I crouched down to their level. I know you do, sweetheart. You'll see her soon. When? Madison's lower lip trembled. Tomorrow. We're going to meet her at the park. Emma had been texting constantly, begging for time with the kids. Ryan had advised supervised visits only, in public places, documented with photos and exact times. You can play, and Mom will be there. Will you be there? Tyler asked. Yes. He nodded slowly, processing. Then he went back to his Legos without another word. Saturday morning arrived gray and cold. I dressed the kids in warm jackets and drove to Freedom Park, arriving 15 minutes early. Emma's car was already there. She got out as we pulled into the parking lot, and Madison shrieked with joy, fumbling with her seatbelt. I unbuckled her, and she ran across the grass, launching herself into Emma's arms. Emma caught her, burying her face in Madison's hair. When she looked up, her eyes were red and swollen. She'd been crying long before we arrived. Tyler walked over more slowly, and Emma pulled him into the embrace too. Over their heads, her gaze met mine. I looked away, checking my phone. 9:43 a.m. I opened the camera and took a photo of the 3 of them together, documenting the visit. Can we go to the playground? Madison asked. Of course, baby, Emma's voice cracked. Let's go swing. I followed at a distance, sitting on a bench with a clear view of the play structure. Emma pushed Madison on the swings while Tyler climbed the monkey bars with single-minded determination. Normal. It all looked so normal. My phone buzzed. Emma. Can we talk? I looked up. She was watching me from the swings, phone in one hand, the other steadying Madison. Me? No. Emma. Please, just 5 minutes. Emma. I need to explain. Me? There's nothing to explain. She bit her lip, then typed again. Emma. The kids are asking questions. Me? Tell them the truth. Emma. They're too young. Me. Then tell them you made a mistake. That's true enough. She didn't respond to that. Madison demanded to be pushed higher, and Emma pocketed her phone, forcing a smile for our daughter. I watched them for another hour. Tyler showed Emma his new skill on the monkey bars, making it all the way across without stopping. Madison insisted Emma watch her go down the slide 17 times. Emma laughed and clapped and acted like her world wasn't disintegrating. Maybe she was better at pretending than I'd given her credit for. At 11, I stood up. Time to go. Already? Madison's face fell. We'll see Mom again soon, I said. Emma walked over, carrying Madison on her hip. Next weekend? I'll let you know. Jake? I'll let you know, I repeated. She set Madison down carefully. Can I at least call them? Before bed? I considered it. Ryan had said to control all contact, but these were her kids too. For now. 7 o'clock, FaceTime, 15 minutes. Relief flooded her face. Thank you. I took the kids' hands and walked back to the car. In the rearview mirror, I watched Emma standing alone in the parking lot, getting smaller as we drove away. Monday morning, Patterson's conference room table was covered in printed phone records. Hundreds of pages, organized into neat stacks. "These are just the highlights," David said, sliding a bound summary toward me. Steph spent the weekend compiling the most relevant exchanges. I opened the folder. Text message timestamps, organized by date. The first one was from early June. Brian. Great meeting you. Emma. You too. Brian. Drink sometime? 4 days later. Emma. Thursday works, and from there it escalated. Hundreds of messages, good morning texts, good night texts. Messages sent while I was at work, while I was home, while I was sitting next to her on the couch. There are approximately 3,200 text messages over the 4-month period, Steph said. Average of 27 per day. Call duration totals over 80 hours. 80 hours, on the phone with him. Video calls? I asked. 43 documented video calls, ranging from 5 minutes to 2 hours. I flipped through the pages, seeing the pattern. Thursday nights had the longest calls, before and after their meetings. But there were calls every day, sometimes multiple times a day. The content isn't available through the carrier, David said, just metadata. But the pattern establishes a sustained, ongoing relationship. This wasn't casual. No. My voice sounded flat even to my own ears. It wasn't. There's more. David pulled out another folder. Credit card statements. Your brother got these through the joint account access. I opened it. Highlighted charges jumped out. Hotel rooms. Restaurants I'd never been to. A jewelry purchase for $800 in July. That necklace, I said quietly. She told me her sister gave it to her. David made a note. We'll want that in the deposition. Any gifts? Any lies about their origin? It demonstrates deception and financial misconduct. What about her sister? Does she know? Unknown, but we can subpoena her if needed. I stared at the $800 charge. What else? Lingerie, 4 separate purchases at a boutique in South Park. David's expression was carefully neutral. Total of $1,200. I'd never seen any of it. She'd never worn anything like that for me. The total expenditure from the joint account on affair-related expenses is approximately $7,800, Steph said, that we can definitively tie to Brian or the affair timeline. Almost $8,000. Our money. Money that should have gone to the kids, to the house, to our future. Can we get that back? I asked. We'll pursue reimbursement in the settlement, David said. North Carolina allows us to claim marital waste. She spent marital funds on an extramarital affair. The court doesn't look favorably on that. He pulled out a yellow legal pad, already covered in notes. Here's where we are. We have documentation of a sustained affair, phone records, financial records, witness testimony from Chris about the alibi. We have evidence of deception and financial misconduct. We have her confession to you, which you documented in writing immediately afterward. He tapped the pad. This is a strong case for fault-based divorce on grounds of adultery. What does that mean for custody? In North Carolina, adultery doesn't automatically affect custody decisions. The court's focus is the best interest of the children. However, he leaned forward. The deception, the pattern of lying, the financial misconduct, these speak to character and judgment. Combined with your documentation of being the primary caregiver, your stable home environment, and her current unstable housing situation, we have a strong position for primary custody. What's she going to argue? That she's a good mother, that the affair was a mistake that doesn't affect her parenting, that the children need their mother. He shrugged. Standard arguments. But she's starting from a weak position. She's the one who destroyed the marriage. She's the one who moved out. She's the one who spent thousands on an affair while you were home with the kids. Has she hired anyone yet? Not that we've been notified. She has to respond to the divorce petition within 30 days of service. That's, he checked his notes, 3 weeks from now. She'll need representation by then. And if she doesn't respond? Default judgment. You win by forfeit. He smiled slightly. But she'll respond. They always do. I looked down at the phone records again, at the endless list of calls and messages. 3,200 texts. 80 hours of calls. $8,000. 4 months of lies. What's next? I asked. We file the financial affidavits, continue discovery, and prepare for her response. Once she files, we'll have a better sense of her strategy. In the meantime, keep documenting everything. Every visit with the kids, every text message, every interaction. The more evidence we have of you being the stable, responsible parent, the stronger our position. I closed the folder. When does this go to court? Assuming she contests, which she will, we're looking at 4 to 6 months for a trial date. Could be longer if it gets complicated. 6 months. Half a year of this. Can you handle it? David asked quietly. I met his eyes. I don't have a choice. You do. You could settle. Agree to joint custody, split assets, move on. No. Jake, she doesn't get to destroy our family and walk away with half of everything. She doesn't get equal custody after what she did. I stood up. I'll handle it. David studied me for a moment, then nodded. All right, we fight. The email from Emma's attorney arrived on a Thursday, 17 days after I'd filed. I was at my desk when the notification popped up, and for a second I just stared at the sender's name. Catherine Walsh, family law attorney. So she'd finally hired someone. I forwarded it to David without opening the attachment. Let him read it first. My phone rang 3 minutes later. She's contesting, David said. Denying fault. Claiming the marriage was irretrievably broken due to, and I'm quoting here, mutual emotional distance and lack of intimacy. I closed my eyes. She's blaming me. She's trying to reframe the narrative. Walsh is decent, not great. This response is pretty standard. Deny everything, flip the script, hope for 50-50. He paused. There's a request for reconciliation counseling. No. I told you she'd try. Judges sometimes look favorably on parties who attempt counseling. Makes them seem reasonable. I don't care how it makes her look. The answer is no. Then we respond accordingly. She's also requesting joint legal custody and equal parenting time. My hand tightened on the phone. Based on what? She abandoned them? She left the marital home. She's been seeing them twice a week at supervised visits. Walsh is going to argue that's your restriction, not hers. That she's a devoted mother who made a mistake in her marriage but never stopped loving her children. A mistake. The word tasted bitter. It's spin, Jake. That's what attorneys do. We'll counter with the evidence. The money she spent, the lies, the manipulation of Chris. Walsh can dress it up however she wants, but the facts don't change. After we hung up, I sat there looking at nothing. The office continued around me, phones ringing, keyboards clicking, someone laughing at the water cooler. Normal sounds. Normal day. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma's number. I had to hire an attorney. You wouldn't talk to me. I miss the kids so much. Please, can I see them more? I deleted it without responding. Ryan came over that Saturday while the kids were at Emma's supervised visit. I'd hired a professional supervisor now, a woman named Janet who specialized in custody cases. $60 an hour to watch Emma play with our children at the same park where I used to take them for free. You look like hell, Ryan said, dropping a six-pack on the kitchen counter. Thanks. When's the last time you slept? I opened the refrigerator, Move things around without purpose. I sleep. How much? Enough. 4 hours, maybe 5. I'd wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and lie there calculating. How many times had she done it? How many lies had I believed? The numbers ran on a loop until my alarm went off. Ryan opened 2 beers, slid one across to me. David called me, asked if I'd seen the response. And it's weak. She's got nothing except a sympathetic narrative. Wronged wife, distant husband, moment of weakness that turned into something more. He drank. Walsh is going to try to make you the villain. Paint you as controlling, unforgiving. Someone who threw his wife out instead of fighting for the marriage. I should have fought for a marriage where she was sleeping with someone else? I'm telling you what they'll argue. That you gave up. That you prioritized punishment over reconciliation. I looked at him. You think I should have taken her back? I think you should be prepared for how this is going to play in court. Family judges see a lot of affairs, Jake. Some of them think the wronged spouse who refuses counseling is just as responsible for the divorce as the cheater. That's insane. That's family court. He picked at the label on his bottle. I'm not saying you made the wrong choice. I'm saying you need to be ready for them to twist it. The deposition was scheduled for mid-March, 6 weeks out. David warned me it would be ugly. Walsh is going to ask about everything, he said during our prep session. Your relationship with Emma, your sex life, your parenting, your finances. She'll try to get you angry, get you to say something she can use. Like what? Like that you hate Emma, that you're using the kids to punish her, that you never really loved her. He leaned back in his chair. The goal is to make you look vindictive, a man who's more interested in revenge than in what's best for his children. And Emma's deposition? Same thing, reversed. I'll ask about the affair, the lies, the money, every text, every call, every hotel room. How she looked Tyler and Madison in the eye and lied about where she was going. He smiled, thin and sharp. By the time I'm done, Walsh is going to wish she'd advised her client to settle. I picked up the kids from Janet at 5:30. Madison ran to me like always, but Tyler hung back, watching Emma's car pull away. Mom said she might get to see us more soon, he said. I crouched down to his level. Did she? She said her lawyer is helping fix things. He looked at me with those serious eyes that made him seem older than 6. Are things broken? Yes. Everything. The life I thought we had, the future I'd planned, the trust I'd built over 8 years. All of it broken into pieces too small to reassemble. Some things are different now, I said. But you and Madison are okay. That's what matters. Mom cried when we left. I know, buddy. She said she loves us. She does love you. That part isn't different. He nodded slowly, processing. Do you still love her? Madison was already at the car, pulling on the door handle. I could hear her singing something about ice cream. The golden retriever, Bailey, barked from inside the house. It's complicated, I said. That means no, Tyler said. Not a question, just an observation. Smart kid. The anonymous texter never contacted me again. I'd checked my phone obsessively for the first week, expecting another message, another photo, some explanation. Nothing came. I'd asked David about it during one of our meetings, whether we should try to find out who it was. Why? He'd asked. Because I want to know who destroyed my marriage. Emma destroyed your marriage. Someone just made sure you knew about it. He'd shrugged. Could be anyone. A friend of yours who found out. Someone who saw them together. Hell, could be Brian's wife if he has one. Does it matter? It should have mattered. Someone out there knew my wife was cheating and decided to tell me via anonymous text instead of a conversation. Someone had watched her lie and waited until they had proof before dropping it in my lap at a grocery store on a Tuesday afternoon. But David was right. It didn't change anything. Chris called on Sunday. I almost didn't answer. "Hey," he said. "I know you probably don't want to talk to me." "I'm listening. I just... I wanted you to know I told my wife about what Emma did, how she used me." He sounded tired. "Kelly was pretty upset. She wanted to call you, apologize, but I told her it wasn't her fault." "It wasn't. Emma called Kelly yesterday, asked if we could write a character reference for her, for the custody case." He laughed, bitter. "Can you believe that? After everything, she thought we'd help her." "What did Kelly say?" "She told Emma to lose her number." A pause. "I'm sorry, man. I should have known something was off. The way she was so specific about the dates, the times, I should have seen it." "You trusted her. So did I." After he hung up, I stood in the kitchen with my phone in my hand, thinking about trust. How easy it was to give and how impossible to get back once it was gone. The house was quiet. Tyler and Madison were asleep upstairs. Bailey was curled up on the couch. Outside, the neighborhood was dark except for streetlights and the occasional lit window. This was my life now. Single father, pending divorce, sole occupant of a house that used to hold a family. I turned off the lights and went upstairs to check on the kids. Madison had kicked off her blankets. Tyler was clutching his stuffed dinosaur. Both of them breathing steady and peaceful, unaware of depositions and attorneys and parents who couldn't be in the same room anymore. I pulled Madison's blankets back up and kissed her forehead. Did the same for Tyler. Then I went to my room, not our room anymore, just mine, and lay down in the dark, waiting for sleep that wouldn't come. The text from Chris came through while I was reviewing discovery documents at my kitchen table. "Hey man, weird question. Did Emma ever do that anniversary trip thing? Some guy named Brian called me today asking why I lied to his wife about Thursday nights." I stared at the screen. Read it again. Brian had a wife. My hands found my phone before my brain caught up. David answered on the second ring. "Jake, what's wrong?" "Brian's married." Silence. Then, "You're certain?" "He just called Chris Donovan. My friend Emma used as the alibi. He wanted to know why Chris lied to his wife about Thursday nights." "Which means Brian's wife found out." David's voice sharpened. "And Brian's trying to control the narrative, blaming your friend instead of admitting the affair. Can we use this?" "Absolutely. A married affair partner strengthens your case significantly. Shows premeditation, deception on both sides. If Brian's wife is willing to testify or provide evidence, I'll find out who she is. Let me handle that. I have an investigator who can locate her information within 24 hours. Don't contact Brian or his wife directly. That could backfire legally." I texted Chris back. "What exactly did he say?" The response came immediately. Called me a liar. Said his wife found texts between him and Emma on his phone. Said Emma told him we were all friends and hung out on Thursdays. He was pissed when I said I barely know you and never hung out with them. "Did you tell him the truth?" "Hell yes. Told him Emma asked me to cover for her months ago. Said it was for a surprise trip for you. Told him I had no idea she was sleeping with him." He hung up on me. I forwarded the conversation to David, then sat back in my chair. The kitchen felt too quiet. Tyler and Madison were with Emma for their supervised visit. 2 hours at a McDonald's play place with Emma's mother present. The arrangement made my teeth ache, but it was temporary. David had assured me of that. My phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Jake Mitchell?" A woman's voice. Tight. Controlled. "Yes." "This is Nicole Garrett. I think we need to talk about our spouses." I stood up, walked to the window. "You're Brian's wife." "For now." Bitter laugh. "I found text messages on his phone 3 days ago. Thousands of them. He told me it was nothing, that your wife pursued him, that he tried to end it multiple times. That's not what the evidence shows. I know. I have his credit card statements, hotel rooms, dinners, a bracelet he told me he bought for our daughter's birthday, except our daughter never got it. Her voice cracked. How long did you know? 6 weeks. Anonymous text with a photo. I sent that. The world tilted. I gripped the windowsill. What? I saw them together at the Marriott bar in March. I didn't know who she was, but I took a picture. Brian said it was a work colleague. I wanted to believe him. She exhaled shakily. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I followed him one Thursday. Watched them go into the hotel together. Watched them come out 2 hours later. Why didn't you tell me then? Because I'm a coward. The words came out flat. I thought if I ignored it, it would go away. But it didn't. It got worse. He started staying late at work, taking weekend trips. So I checked his phone records. Found your wife's number. Found her Facebook profile. Found you. I closed my eyes. You sent me the photo to blow it up. I sent you the photo because you deserve to know, and because I needed someone else to do what I couldn't. She paused. I'm filing for divorce. My attorney said your attorney might want to coordinate. David Patterson. I'll have my attorney contact him. Another pause. I have recordings. My eyes opened. Of what? Brian on the phone with your wife. I started recording his calls 2 weeks ago. There are 17 conversations. They talk about you. About me. About how they wish they could just be together without the complications. I need those recordings. My attorney will provide them through discovery, but I wanted you to know they exist. Her voice hardened. I also want you to know that Brian told me your wife initiated everything, that she pursued him at a dental conference last November, that she showed up at his office, that she... Emma's version is that he pursued her. They're both liars. Nicole's laugh was sharp. My attorney says North Carolina allows alienation of affection lawsuits. I'm considering filing one against your wife. I'd researched that. Alienation of affection. A lawsuit against the person who destroyed your marriage. North Carolina was one of 6 states that still allowed it. Awards could reach 6 figures. Do it, I said. You could file one against Brian. I'm considering it. Good. She took a breath. I have 3 kids. 8, 6, and 3. They don't know yet. I'm trying to figure out how to tell them their father is a liar who destroyed our family for a dental hygienist he met at a conference. My throat tightened. Tyler's 6. Madison's 4. They know something's wrong, but not what. I'm sorry. Me too. We sat in silence for a moment. 2 strangers connected by betrayal. My attorney's name is Jennifer Russo, Nicole said finally. She's expecting David's call. Thank you for the photo, for calling. Don't thank me. I should have told you in person months ago. She hung up. I immediately called David. He answered with, I just got off the phone with Jennifer Russo. That was fast. She called me 5 minutes ago, said her client wanted to coordinate with us. He sounded energized. Jake, this is significant. Brian's wife has recordings of phone conversations between him and Emma. Detailed discussions about the affair, their feelings for each other, complaints about their spouses. Jennifer's sending them over tomorrow. Nicole said she might file alienation of affection against Emma. She should. And you should consider filing against Brian. The evidence is overwhelming. Documented affair, financial expenditures, emotional testimony. A jury would be sympathetic. How much are we talking about? Depends on the jury. I've seen awards from $50,000 to several $100,000. The key factors are duration of affair, level of deception, and financial impact on the marriage. He paused. But there's a strategic consideration. If you file against Brian, Emma's attorney will use it to argue you're motivated by revenge rather than the children's best interests. I am motivated by the children's best interests. That's why I want Emma to face consequences. I agree, but Catherine Walsh will spin it differently. She'll say you're weaponizing the legal system, that you're trying to financially destroy Emma out of spite. What do you recommend? Let Nicole file her lawsuit. Let Brian deal with that fight. You focus on custody and the divorce. Once those are resolved, we can reassess whether an alienation suit makes sense. His voice softened. I know you want Emma to pay. She will. The custody arrangement, the evidence in the divorce, the public record of her adultery, those are permanent consequences. An alienation suit is just money. He was right. I hated that he was right. Send me the recordings when you get them, I said. I will. And Jake? This is good news. Brian's wife corroborating the affair, providing independent evidence. It eliminates any possibility of Emma claiming the relationship was exaggerated or misunderstood. After we hung up, I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. Searched for Nicole Garrett on Facebook. Found her immediately. Pretty blonde woman, late 30s, 3 kids in her profile photo. Brian stood behind them, hand on her shoulder. The photo was dated last Christmas. 4 months ago, while that photo was being taken, Brian was already sleeping with my wife. I closed the laptop, checked the time. Emma's visit ended in 40 minutes. I needed to pick up Tyler and Madison, needed to see their faces, needed to remember why I was doing this. My phone buzzed. Text from Ryan. Heard from David about Brian's wife. This keeps getting better for your case. Better feels like the wrong word. Fair. But you know what I mean. Emma's running out of moves. He was right about that too. Emma's narrative, that the affair was meaningless, that she wanted to save the marriage, that she deserved joint custody, was collapsing under the weight of evidence. Recordings of her professing feelings for Brian. Financial records showing deliberate deception. Now, a corroborating witness who could testify to the affair's impact on another family. Catherine Walsh was good, but she couldn't make those facts disappear. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. McDonald's was 12 minutes away. I'd be early, but I didn't care. I wanted my kids back where they belonged. With me. The judge's ruling came down on a Wednesday in late September, 18 months after that text message in the grocery store. I sat in the courtroom while Judge Patricia Warren read through her decision, my hands folded on the table in front of me, forcing myself to breathe steadily. Based on the evidence presented, Judge Warren said, her voice carrying through the silent courtroom, I find that the plaintiff has demonstrated clear grounds for divorce based on adultery. Furthermore, the pattern of deception, financial misconduct, and prioritization of an extramarital relationship over familial responsibilities reflects poorly on the defendant's judgment and character. Beside me, David remained perfectly still. Across the aisle, Emma sat with Catherine Walsh, her face pale. Regarding custody, I am awarding primary physical custody to the plaintiff, with the defendant receiving supervised visitation every other weekend and 1 evening per week, to be reassessed in 6 months pending completion of counseling requirements. Judge Warren looked up from her papers, directly at Emma. Mrs. Mitchell, your children need stability. Your actions destabilize their home. Until you demonstrate consistent responsibility and honest communication, limited access serves their best interests. Emma's shoulders shook. Walsh put a hand on her arm. Regarding asset division, the defendant's expenditure of approximately $7,800 in marital funds on affair-related expenses constitutes marital waste. The plaintiff is entitled to reimbursement of that full amount from the defendant's share of marital assets. Additionally, given the fault-based grounds for divorce, the defendant's request for alimony is denied. Judge Warren continued through the specifics: division of property, retirement accounts, the house. I got the house. Emma would take her car, half the savings that remained after reimbursing me, and her personal belongings. This court is adjourned. The gavel came down. I stood up slowly. David shook my hand. Congratulations. That's about as decisive a victory as you'll see in family court. Across the aisle, Emma was crying into her hands. Walsh was gathering papers, her expression professionally neutral. I felt nothing looking at them. No satisfaction, no anger, just exhaustion. Outside the courtroom, Ryan was waiting. He pulled me into a brief hug. You did it, man. Yeah. How do you feel? I thought about it. Tired. Nicole Garrett's lawsuit against Emma had settled 2 months earlier for $45,000. Emma had to take out a loan to pay it. Brian's divorce had been finalized a month ago. Nicole got primary custody of their 3 kids in the house. Brian was living in an apartment downtown, his pharmaceutical sales career damaged by the scandal. Emma had moved in with her mother after leaving the Hampton Inn. She'd lost weight, looked older. The supervised visits were awkward, stilted. Madison still ran to her with open arms, but Tyler had grown distant, polite but reserved. He'd asked me once if Mom was coming home. When I said no, he'd nodded and gone back to his homework without another word. The kids were resilient. They'd adjusted to the new normal faster than I'd expected. Tyler had started first grade. Madison was in pre-K. They had routines, stability, a home that didn't shift beneath their feet. I drove back to that home now, the legal papers in a folder on the passenger seat. The house was quiet when I walked in. The kids wouldn't be home from school for another 2 hours. Bailey greeted me at the door, tail wagging. I sat down at the kitchen table and opened the folder. Read through the custody arrangement one more time. Primary physical custody. Legal decision-making authority. Emma's visitation schedule clearly defined, limited, supervised. I'd won. So why did it feel hollow? My phone buzzed. Text from Emma. Can I call you? I stared at it for a long moment. Then I typed back, no, communication goes through the attorneys. Please, I just want to say I'm sorry. You've said that. I know I destroyed everything. I know you'll never forgive me. But I need you to know I never meant to hurt the kids. I set the phone down without responding. She was right. I wouldn't forgive her. Forgiveness required trust, and trust was something I'd never give her again. But the kids loved her. Despite everything, they needed their mother in their lives. In 6 months, if she completed the counseling requirements, if she demonstrated stability, the supervised visits would become unsupervised. Eventually, maybe, something approaching normal co-parenting. For their sake, not hers, I pulled up the photos on my phone, scrolled back to last weekend, Tyler's soccer game. He'd scored his first goal, and I'd caught the moment on camera. His face lit up with joy, arms raised in triumph. Madison in the background, jumping up and down on the sidelines. That was what mattered. Not the divorce, not the settlement, not winning or losing. Just those 2 kids and making sure they grew up knowing they were loved, protected, safe. The house was mine now. The marriage was over. Emma would fade into scheduled visits and awkward exchanges at school events. Brian was someone else's problem. The affair would become history, a painful chapter that ended. And me? I'd wake up tomorrow and make breakfast for my kids. I'd go to work, come home, help with homework, read bedtime stories. I'd rebuild a life that looked different from what I'd planned but was still worth living. People talk about closure like it's a destination, a place you reach where the pain stops and everything makes sense. But I'd learned that closure is just acceptance. Accepting that some questions don't have answers. Accepting that people you love can destroy you. Accepting that you can survive it anyway. I didn't understand why Emma did it. Maybe she didn't either. Maybe there was no reason that would ever make sense. just weakness and opportunity and choices that spiraled out of control. But understanding why didn't matter anymore. What mattered was moving forward. I closed the folder and stood up. Checked the time. The kids would be home in 90 minutes. I'd make spaghetti tonight, Tyler's favorite. Maybe we'd watch a movie after dinner. Something funny that would make Madison laugh. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Emma. I deleted it without reading it. Then I went upstairs and started getting their rooms ready for the evening. Fresh sheets on Madison's bed. The Lego set Tyler had been asking about, waiting on his desk as a surprise. Small things. Normal things. The things that built a life. Outside, the September sun was starting to sink toward the horizon. In a few hours, I'd hear the school bus, the sound of the front door opening, 2 voices calling for me. I'd hug them and ask about their days and pretend that everything had always been exactly like this. And maybe, eventually, it would feel true. The story doesn't end with revenge or redemption. It ends with Wednesday spaghetti dinners and Saturday soccer games. With Tyler learning to tie his shoes and Madison losing her first tooth. With ordinary moments that stitch together into something resembling happiness. I won the case. I got custody. I got the house and the assets and the moral high ground. But the real victory was smaller than that. It was knowing that my kids would be okay, that I could give them stability even when everything else fell apart. That love, real love, the kind that shows up every day and doesn't waver, was stronger than betrayal. Emma made her choices. I made mine. And in the end, the only choice that mattered was choosing my children, every single day, no matter what it cost me. That's not a moral lesson. It's just the truth. Some people will betray you. Some marriages will fail. Some trust, once broken, can never be repaired. But if you protect what matters most, if you show up when it counts, if you build something solid for the people who depend on you, that's enough. It has to be enough, because it's all any of us can do.